Cheat Code.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pickleball Cheat Code, the show for competitive pickleball players who want to level up their game. We focus on advanced strategies for experienced players, stuff only the pros really know. I'm Brodie Smith. I'm a 5.5 level player and a coach, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Tanner Tomasi.
Hey, everyone.
Tanner is a 6.0 rated player and an APP gold medalist. Today, we are diving in on how to be aggressive on the court. And then at the end of the episode, we're going to be discussing Tanner's latest incredible milestone. So stick around to see what that is exactly. And if you've done anything to improve your game from this podcast so far, please share the show with your pickleball community. All right. Tanner.
How's it going?
Doing? What's new? What's new with you, bud?
I'm good. Where am I? I feel like I've been traveling a bunch. I was just in Nicaragua, and then I went straight to Chicago to do some coaching there for a week. And then I actually just got back I came home for like a day, and then I went surfing up in Melbourne, Florida, which is like 2 hours away. I'm back today, and then I'm leaving tomorrow at 5 a.m. to go to APP Michigan and hopefully go back to back. That's the plan.
Do you have time to sleep at night?
Sometimes no. Get too riled up.
Who are you playing APP Michigan with?
Playing with Richard again.
Of course. You cannot break that up. Let's go. Well, I'm rooting for you there. That'll be fun. I'm still out in the old Canada. I'm in Montreal now. Done with my Quebec City stint. Shout out to, it's pronounced Espouse Pickleball. I was calling it eSpace. It's ESPACE Pickleball. It's a club there that is like the nicest club in Canada. So shout out to them. Did some coaching there, doing some coaching here in Montreal, but it's been a fun time. It's been a good time.
Oh, nice.
All right, let's dive in. Being aggressive. I want to kick things off with a question to you. I think it might be a little rhetorical because I think we might have the same answer, but I could be wrong. Question is, would you rather play somebody, they're both 6.0 players. Would you rather play a person who is ultra aggressive or a 6.0 player that's extremely consistent? If you're trying to win, what would you rather play against so it's more comfortable for you?
I would rather play against the team that's more consistent than more aggressive. I'm curious
100%.
to hear your answer.
100%. Yeah. It's the same thing. I mean, it's the higher level you get when somebody has that consistency already and then they're able to layer on levels of aggression and you don't know what they're going to do and they're a menace. I don't want to play against that. I want somebody that's going to dink all day, not miss their shots. I mean, obviously that's a little bit of pressure in itself too, but the higher level you get, I feel like it's once you hit 5.0, you need to have that extreme consistency, but it's the players that get closer to that 6.0 level. Those are the guys that already have that consistency in their back pocket, but are able to layer on insane levels of offense that just make the game so uncomfortable for you, right? I mean, that's how I feel at least.
Yeah, totally. I think if you don't have the aggression, your opponent really never feels pressure.
Yeah.
So it's vital that you add variety to your game where your opponent kind of doesn't know what's coming. Otherwise, they're not going to make errors if they just know that you're never going to attack. They're going to be more consistent and they're not going to be threatened.
All right, let's dive in to the ways to be aggressive from like a coaching perspective of like, what are the main ways to apply pressure and be aggressive in a match and make your opponents as uncomfortable as possible? So first, obviously speed ups. Let's break that down in detail. So they're speeding up from out of the air and then speeding up from off of the bounce. This is obviously when you're at the kitchen. My number one piece of advice, and I see players do this 24/7, is trying to speed up the ball when they're off balance. I think if you're ever off balance whatsoever, I don't know about you, unless it's like some pop-up, of course, but I'm never speeding up a ball unless I feel completely locked in and my plant leg is set. I'm balanced. I'm rested. Even out of the air, people are reaching and they fall and they try to like hit these dumb flicks. I'm like, if you're not comfortable with your base and if your athletic footwork, I don't think you should be speeding up a ball ever.
Yeah, that's spot on. Something that I like to tell people is you should always look, number one, is to attack balls out of the air. But if you do attack off the bounce, it's totally fine, but you have to have a set base. One of the things I mentioned, actually, I feel like I say this in every episode. I just filmed a video before this video or before this podcast, as well as in my book that's coming out. There's a section on this, how to dodge out balls. One of the key indicators is people think that when that this is the mistake amateurs make, is that when people speed the ball up, you're trying to like react to their shot, but it's really a pre-shot cue. If somebody's off balance and like on the far stretch reaching for a ball, that's a clear indicator the ball's going out. If their feet are set, I'm going to be more likely to counter it. If they're not set, I'm going to get out of the way. It's going out.
Because when they're off balance, you're clearing because it's going to be a shitty speed up essentially.
Bad speed up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess that's not something I'm ever looking out for. I'm always just looking for, I hit so many balls that are going to go out 24/7. Since I'm so pancakey, I'm just ready to plush it down.
I'm working on that too every day.
It's hard. Do you ever hop off the line? So when I play against an aggressive player, my way of defending it is every once in a while, just to change the pacing, is I'll take one step off the line. Because if I feel like they're going to pull the trigger, it just gives me that much more reaction time. So that's how I like to handle it. Otherwise, my brain just takes over and I want to smack the ball right in their chest, and then I'm too late. But it's tough.
Yeah, the strategy that you said is a spot-on strategy, especially in the year of like 2025 with the paddles, of being able to keep the ball in with the massive amounts of spin, as well as they come a lot faster, so it's less time to react. If I'm playing against a hyper-aggressive person, basically whenever my partner is hitting the ball, I'll be up on the line, and then as soon as it comes off of his paddle and I see that it's a ball that there's a 5% chance that could get attacked or more, I step back because it completely neutralizes their attack. Because if they speed up, I have way more time. Whereas if my partner hits a dead dink to the opponent out wide and I'm on the line, zero chance. If they're good, zero chance. I back up. Now I can react and neutralize.
Exactly. That, like, every inch you take a step back maximizes your reaction time by like 10%, 10%.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's night and day. And I don't feel like people do that enough on the defensive side of handling pressure. But back to applying the pressure. So for hitting that ball out of the air, is there like a proper net height that you like to focus on for flicking? Because I personally hit balls better off the bounce just because of the way I grip it, and that's where my bread and butter is. But I have trouble because I don't have a good flick. So what is your typical net height that you're shooting for to go for? Like, is it ever below the net and you're rolling it?
Yeah, so obviously if it's net height, that's a green light, go for it. I'd say if it's like even 4 inches below the net, I'd say that's probably about the area that I still will attack. Anything lower than that, probably not. When the ball is net height and you flick it, less of a spot of like, ooh, trying to hit their chicken wing. You kind of just want to go sheer power anywhere, like just sheer power as hard as you can. When the ball dips below the net, like say the 4 inches, that's when you have to kind of use a little bit more like skill with like choosing a spot. Where's the opponent sitting? Are they forehand, backhand? So if the ball, for me, if it's 4 inches below the net, you have to take some off, because if you rip it, it's going to go into the net or way out. When you take some off, I'll normally go like soft and high shoulder, so like they get chicken wing. That's a more like finicky shot that you have to kind of learn. You can't just go out and hit that. You have to really understand the game and see the spot.
Those are way harder. Yeah, I'm always looking at paddle positioning. So like out of the corner of my eye, like obviously I'm ball tracking, but if I've seen my peripheral that they're like loaded on their forehand or their backhand, that's when you know opposite shoulder is typically going to be open unless they have crazy reaction time. But yeah, that's a good point. So are you flicking and rolling those? Like, I feel like you're not much of a flick style player. Like there's so many players like Ben's flick. Like Ben's flick is incredible and he drops his paddle like crazy and rolls it. I feel like that's just a hard technique to get down. And do you feel like that you're using that a lot in your game, or when it's 4 inches below the net, you're still just kind of a light roll and you're more so just smacking it? You know what I mean?
No, I think the flick, I've come to get better and better at it. Yeah. I feel like now it's probably that's definitely my preferred shot. Like if I'm dinking cross court straight ahead, I'm always looking for a flick. Backhand, forehand, doesn't matter. The backhand I can hit harder. So I'd say if I had to choose one, I'd prefer the backhand flick. But yeah, just sheer power. If it's below the net, it's still a flick. It's like if it's super below the net, then you have to roll it. So like, it's a fine line. I don't know if we need to get too into the weeds on that. But the best time to use the roll is if you have a ball and you can go like down the sideline of your opponent. Because if you flick like with your wrist, the natural swing path is like through the court. Like look at my wrist, it's going through the court. The roll more down the line.
Wait, how would you define the difference between a flick and a roll then? For me, it's like the same thing.
A flick is more of like, as I was saying, like sheer power of like brute force.
Oh, I see. Like your flick is your smack. I was thinking of flick as like the roll, and I was combining them as the same thing in my mind.
Yeah, the roll you can't hit hard. Like it doesn't work because you're brushing, where the flick is wrist. You know?
Yeah, no, definitely same page. And then the other thing, you touched on this earlier, and I think this is like such a take home point and almost the cheat code of the episode, that your mentality at the kitchen, how it needs to be, is I always have a mental priority list, and it's a way to shrink the kitchen as much as possible. So my mental priority list every single time is, like you said, you always have to be as close as you can to the kitchen. We're leaning in, well balanced, of course. We're not overreaching, but we're always looking to take balls out of the air. That's number one. No matter what, you have to be ready for that, for any sort of put away, any flick, any roll. That's going to put pressure on your opponent immediately. My second priority list, as soon as I realize that ball, I can't take it out of the air, my next step is taking it off the bounce. And when I mean take it off the bounce, is I mean a step back, and then I'm able to hit my plant leg and then apply pressure from there, whether that's a roll off the bounce or I'm speeding it up off the bounce, but I'm getting my plant leg set. My third priority list, it's only 3, is a short hop. So that's my last resort. If I realize that ball's coming in way too tight and I can't take it out of the air and I know I don't have time to step back and plant my foot, I'm just going to hit a defensive short hop. Short hop's always a defensive shot. And I just want to be able to just to neutralize the kitchen. They probably hit a really good cross-court heavy dipping dink, for example. Then I'm just going to short hop that ball and neutralize. But that is always my philosophy, at least for when I'm at the kitchen line. I don't know if that's the same thing you follow, but that's typically how I like to structure it in my mind, and typically whatever I teach whenever I'm coaching too.
Yeah, I think what you said is great. I don't have anything to add on that. I think that is perfect.
It makes me happy that I'm teaching the right thing, Tanner. Good. Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, the whole point of that too is just to shrink the kitchen as much as you can. And that's always applying pressure as well. If you shrink the kitchen and you play against a team that you feel like your dink is going to be just a little bit too long and they're going to do something with it, that's when that pressure and aggression comes from. And that's what makes people play uncomfortable. Then they're going to start hitting shitty dinks and hitting it too short or popping it up. So making sure you're shrinking the kitchen and always looking for that ball out of the air is number one. And another way to shrink the kitchen too is making sure that you and your partner are properly shadowing, right? So if somebody dinks out wide, you dink out wide, right? You need to be covering your line, shifting to the left, for example, and then your partner needs to be hovering and covering that middle to make sure any ball that comes middle as a pop-up, they can flick and roll that out of the air too. So shrinking the kitchen is like such a key way to apply that pressure.
Yeah, I'll add on to that. What you just said is great to build off of that. Something super important. Like I said, funny enough, exact same thing. Filmed it right before this recording session, as well as in the book. Just another cheat thing that is like the cheat code to people just advancing that they're just unaware of. When say you're in like a cross-court dink rally, you hit a good backhand dink to the opponent, say whatever, it's neutral, and then say you hit like a knifey, good aggressive dink to the opponent that for sure in your brain, like that is going to give them trouble.
Yep.
The second you hit that shot, you want to step over the center line, lean into the kitchen, and make the opponent feel pressure. Exactly. Now, obviously, you need to be particular on which ball you do it on, but when you hit that dink where you're like, okay, that's a great one, I know it's going to give them pressure, step over the center line. People just stand there and then they lose their advantage right away. You have to step over.
Yeah, they're just waiting for that next dink to come back cross court magically. It's like, no, you hit some pace on that thing. Like own up to it, follow it. I love that. That's huge.
And you expect the pop up, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Then the other thing for speeding up off the bounce, and some players do this really well. I mean, I feel like every pro does as well, but essentially it's getting into what I call the triple threat position and you help me out with this really a ton. And we talked about this before, is getting your plant leg set behind that ball. When we're doing any speed up off the bounce, or even if you're just going to dink it and hit a nice, nasty roll cross court, if it comes to my right leg, I'm a righty. I'm putting my right leg, planting it behind that ball before anything else. And I'm getting locked in and then I'm pausing. I have my paddle tip down, and that triple threat position, when I'm sitting there, that ball's coming on its descent. I'm in a spot where if I have proper footwork and I get there in time, it's always speed to the ball and then slow-mo, essentially, as I like to call it, is once I get there and I'm locked in that position, you don't know what the hell I'm going to do. You don't know if I'm going to speed up straight and I'm just going to flick from that position. My paddle tip's down, so I could just hit a nice calm dink. I could roll cross court. I could go down the line. I could go through the middle. So setting up yourself to get in as many of those triple threat positions as possible And you could do the same thing on the backhand side with your left leg planting and holding there and being able to roll it, down the line, whatever it might be. That's when you're watching pros, like, look out for that. You'll see them do it all the time as they get in that position, they lock in, and that's what creates deception and just puts people on their toes.
Yeah, that's great. I like that. I haven't heard that, the triple threat, but that's true. I know the exact thing. The ball coming, hold down. You can do everything. Speed it up, dink, lob, body bag. Like, there's so many options.
You don't know what's going to happen. And speaking of body bags, like, that's another way. And we talked about this once before. Like, there's some players that do it so well. Your old roommate Hayden, who's a body bag king, I'm sure you've gotten hit by some of his when you guys drill and train. I feel like it's such an effective tool. Are you doing that more in your game lately? Are you doing it less without, applying the disrespect? But I think you said you did that in the APP Gold match, right?
Yeah, I did it in the semifinals.
Exactly.
Super effective if you can execute it properly. Even if not, it still gets them, like, it makes them think that when you have that same shot. I'd say it's a really good strategy. Obviously, if you're playing rec play, I'm not going to do it. But, like, if I'm practicing for a tournament and everybody in my game is also playing the tournament and we're all aware that, like, this is serious, then, like, it's free game for people to do it. But I'm not going to do it against, like, my mom when she's on the other side.
So rip it at your mom. Teach her a lesson. You know what I mean?
I could do that.
What's your power percentage that you're hitting when you're going for a body bag? Is it like, because you don't want to go 100. I mean, there's times where I see, like, when Ben tried to do that to Dong, which was hilarious. But, for example, are you hitting that at, like, 85%, 90%?
What I'm trying to do is, since I'm coming off of, like, I'm holding behind the dink, right? And then I'm speeding up and hitting through. I'm trying to hit it at, like, 100% power or even 110% power. But since my backswing is so short, it doesn't come off as quick.
True.
If I'm way back here, that's like a full blast that, like, I wouldn't do. That's like what Ben did in that thing. But, like, yeah, you can see it's coming. So, like, when you're holding here and only snapping through, like, you can't really hit it that hard. So you have to swing basically pretty hard. If that makes sense.
That's a good point too, in terms of, like, the form aspect of the shot, is that all speed ups and body bags, even, they should just be all in front of your body. They should only be, everything should be looking like a dink every single time.
Yes.
And you don't need the power to take it behind your body. Like, there's no need. You can get so much power from just quick acceleration. It doesn't come from strength. I have chicken arms. I can hit a pretty hard speed up, but I'm doing it just from a quick wrist pump, just low to high from that paddle tip down. And then the common mistake that I see the most for when people are hitting speed ups is they just try to hit the shit out of it. It's like, just try to hit it soft. You're more likely going to be able to, be successful and be consistent if you're hitting a softer speed up, calm body, calm wrist, and then you're just slowly rolling through it. You're going to get way more power than you think. People just miss those left and right because they're just trying to just smack it, I guess.
Yeah. When just to clarify, just so anybody listening isn't confused, when I hit the speed up, I'm not using, like, just wrist to flick through. I'm still using, like, my arm and shoulder with the wrist. I won't, like, be down for a speed up and then just only wrist it. I'm still using my whole arm. It's just the take back is not huge. It's just the paddle's never leaving my peripheral vision. If it ever leaves your peripheral, it means that it's probably too big of a swing.
I cannot agree more on that. If you can't see it, then you're trying to swing too hard. I feel like I do more wrist on mine. I've been pretty wristy with my speed ups lately, but I don't know.
Maybe there's two ways of doing it.
No, I know. There's definitely, I mean, for sure. Maybe it's my weird ass Western grip. It's what I need to do, and it just to roll over the ball. Okay, so we talked about applying pressure at the kitchen, but you can also apply pressure from the baseline, of course, and be a menace from there. And then apply pressure when you're transitioning, which is one of the most underlooked areas of the game, especially around that 4-0 level, is people don't know how to transition aggressively at all. For your drives, we've touched on this before, but I think it makes sense to touch on again. What is your power percentage when you're hitting these drives? You're not going 100%, right? Is it like 60, 70?
Yeah, I'd say, like, I only do like 70% on my drive.
What happened? I mean, is there ever a moment where you try to go 100% and you're like, is there a situation where it does make sense to you?
Yeah, I would say, like, say I hit, like, a really good serve and they hit, like, a short return that bounces, like, high, and I'm, like, in the middle of the court and the opponents are both at, like, the kitchen line. then maybe I'll try to just like blast it through the middle at 100% power. But even then, like maybe it depends. It would have to be like really high where I can hit down, where like I'm guaranteed not going to hit it out. I wouldn't say there's really ever a time 100%. Like it's like a really rare case, and I'm saying maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
So like essentially, like no.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you just lose control. You could go into the net or at the back fence, you know?
And then when you're ripping drives, how high above the net are you aiming? For me, I'm aiming high just because I get so much topspin with my grip. I aim like 5 feet over the net, 6 feet over the net because it just dips so much. Yeah, it's just because some of my drives can like land in the kitchen sometimes. It's weird. So for somebody with a normal rip through, like how high are you aiming? Like 1.5 feet?
Yeah, I would say like maybe like 1.5 feet. Yeah. I know for me, I aim like I'd say like probably like 4 inches above the net height. Only with the reason is I don't have a super hard drive to begin with, so I'm always just trying to get it to dip over the net. So I feel like I have pretty good control. So I aim it just like right at net height because it almost plays out. Whereas like I'm ripping it because people like they think it's going to hit the net or whatever, and like their reaction is off a little bit. Whereas like if I just rip it and I'm aiming a foot high over the net, like they're easy to bat it away. The strength of my drive is not one of my strong suits.
Yeah. What do you think applies more pressure for the average player? A super heavy dipping drop that goes to somebody's backhand and is just plummeting, or a heavy drive in the middle, for example?
I think it depends on the return, but if I had to choose an answer, I would probably say depending on the speed of their drive and the consistency of the drop is probably more effective, but you don't want to only do that because then the opponents can cheat one way. You got to have both.
Yeah. My habit is just inside out from the left side, just cross court drops to the people's backhand all day. It's my favorite shot. And with my grip too, I can make it plummet. It's so much fun. Then it allows my partner to come in and close really well too. And speaking of closing and getting in there and poaching, that's, I think, the next most important thing to talk about before we start to wrap up is with poaching, what are some of your tips on that? And we've touched on this once before as well. It's like, where is the best place to drive and drop? And then when you're your partner and let's say I'm playing with you, you drive, where should I be going? Where should I be planting? Where should I be positioning myself? Like what would set us up for the most success for a shake and bake?
Yeah, I would say like, let's say me and you are playing on a team, you're driving the ball. It's always best to never drive the ball. I'll switch my wording so it's easier to understand. It's best for you to drive the ball in front of you or to the middle. It is not best for you to drive the ball completely in front of me. And does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So if you drive the ball in front of you, I can go over and poach, get the ball, come back. If you had a bad shot, I can kind of like stay and I'm not going to get beat. Say I go in, say you're driving the ball. I'm 3 steps in ahead of you. I'm looking at your drive. It's bad. It's like at their shoulders. I can read that and then like just stay put, Whereas if you drive, I'm 3 steps in and you drive at the guy in front of me and I read it and you hit a bad one, they can drive it down my line. It's too hard for me to react. Whereas like they can go both sides on me. They can go through the middle or down my line. Does that make sense?
No, 100%. And that the other thing I was going to say too is that if I'm driving cross court, the speed of a drive slows down so much. I mean, it's a wiffle ball. So it's like that power percentage decrease that happens as it's going cross court, that extra 4 feet, for example, it slows down way more than me driving straight and driving middle, that difference of space. You know what I mean? So I feel like just from a power perspective alone, but from what you said is the most important thing is being able to close, and you could choose whether to poach or not. And in general, I don't think people poach enough. I think poaching is so underused and undervalued. When I'm playing a team and I know a guy's going to come poach at any minute, it scares the living shit out of me, Tanner. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where to go. It's like, do I go behind him? Should I just, and then it's going to throw me off. I'm going to hit really shitty returns. I'm not going to be able just to get my neutral shot back and hit it deep at their feet, because I can't, I'm afraid to pop the ball up. So I think the players that do that the most are just so, and it's hard to do, but it's so effective.
Yeah. approaching like while your opponent's on their heels the entire game, if you could do it effectively. It's a hard skill. I'm still trying to learn it. I'll really only do it when I know like my partner guarantees to hit a good ball, which means I'm a little late getting up there. But still, like it's a great shot to add.
Now I'm realizing my mistake with poaching is what I mentioned earlier. I guess I'm like coaching myself right now therapeutically by talking about this, is that I was saying earlier how if you try to hit a speed up off balance, it's just not going to work. I'm realizing every time I miss a poach is because I'm trying to run and I'm taking like one step too far and I'm trying to hit my poach off balance and I hit it in the net. I hit it long. I make mistakes.
I do that too.
I make that mistake all the time because I think I'm more athletic than I actually am. And then I'm like running for it and I try to take it out of the air and it's there, it's juicy, but I'm just 5% off balance, 15% off balance. And then I'm missing it because of that. And then you see these pros hit it like yourself and other guys that come in and they stay so square. They're not like falling over as they hit it. Whereas like I realize I'm like leaning forward too much. It's like you need to have that low base and come in and snap high. You know, I'm realizing that for myself right now.
Yeah, you got to like split step before the opponent makes contact to the ball. Like wherever you have to stop. A lot of issues come because people are trying to like run through and fully commit on the run. So you have to split step, and then go. Almost like you're returning the ball in singles. Like you're at the net, you're trying to guess where they're going to go. Yeah. If you're moving, you have zero chance.
And then how far back are you split stepping again? Is like 2-3 feet back from the kitchen?
Yeah, I'd say it like depends on like how fast I am getting up there, but definitely like near the midcourt or a step in front of the quote unquote midcourt area, you know?
Yeah. Okay. I think that's all we got there in terms of applying pressure and being an aggressive menace out there. And I just think the number one thing for people listening is like, don't look to do this in your game if you don't feel like you're consistent with dinking, you're consistent with hitting drops and getting in and transitioning effectively. Like that's layer number one to focus on. There's nothing worse than a player that's just a mess out there and they're just trying to hit all these aggressive shots because they're fun. They're the most fun shots to hit. It's fun to shake and bake. It's fun to get a body bag and a speed up. But if you don't have those building blocks of being able to have a long rally where your rallies are consistently at least 6+ shots, for example, then let's ease the brakes. We don't need to be an aggressive menace yet. It's all about controlled aggression. That's the scariest player to me at the end of the day.
Totally agree.
Cool. All right. Well, good chat on that. I need to go work on my balance when I'm poaching. And then I think some of the main takeaways that we mentioned were that mental priority list and then that triple threat position. So making sure your footwork is just locked in for a lot of those shots you hit. And then, that's the way to go. So let's wrap things up. Tanner, what a milestone you hit. I feel like there's always something big with you here. Tell us the latest milestone. I'll let you present it. I just saw it the other day, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, last night at maybe like 10 p.m., I reached 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. That was I've always wanted to achieve that since I was probably like 10, 12 years old. I never thought I'd be able to. I didn't know what means of video would do it. I used to do gaming videos back in the day. Couldn't grow a following at all on YouTube through that. So I tried to do real estate, couldn't grow a following. So it's fun to finally see it come to life through pickleball. So I'm excited to get that plaque in the mail, the 100K plaque.
Is it gold or silver? What is that button look
This
like?
One's silver, yeah.
Is a
million gold.
You think you can hit that? Or is that like...
I don't know. I think pickleball
space. Yeah. Maybe if you made a channel in different languages, we can get Asia in there and get that involved. I mean, then there's how many languages do you have to do for Asia? You're like, ridiculous. And then the other thing, do you have a book coming out too? I saw your post about choosing the book cover. I know the book's coming. I just don't know when.
Yes, it's called Pickleball in 60 Seconds. It's coming out December 9th, but there's pre-orders. You can already pre-order, but I haven't officially announced it yet. I'm going to announce it when the cover gets updated on the website and stuff. So very shortly. That's been huge in the making. I think it's really going to take kind of like the whole pickleball world by storm. The way I've been explaining it to people is like if you're driving down a road or looking at a road map and like the road goes straight, but there's all these different other paths you can go off of. You know what I mean? And that's often what happens when people don't have the proper coaching in anything. Like they try to go this way, go that way, and then they're back at square one. And it's like, it's a big nightmare. Where with this book, you're really just driving straight down the road. You're only getting the information you need. You're not veering off from the path. I'm telling you exactly how I went from being a 3.0 level player when I started to 3 years later, I won an APP gold medal, documenting along the way. It has my personal story interwoven throughout, as long as what you need to get better, or like what you need to do to get better, without like technical of do this with your wrist and this with that. It's completely good stuff that you can take away, apply to your game right away.
That's awesome. That's going to be a quick read though. It's only 60 seconds long to read.
Yes. No, it's 192 pages. Okay. So I'm going to do an audiobook with it as well. But yeah, so maybe a little bit.
The audiobook and the book are more than 60 seconds, just to be clear.
More than 60 seconds.
Good. Okay. I think that makes sense for a book. So we're on the same page. All right, Tanner. Okay. We'll see you next week. Good chatting as always. That's all I got.
Sweet. Thank you.
Okay. My dog.